Ontario's college faculty strike has cast a new spotlight on an old issue: the question of whether this province is adequately funding its public colleges. The union that represents 12,000 faculty across Ontario says colleges are relying too heavily on contract employees to save money and wants to see more full-time teachers hired across the system. The college's bargaining agent has says there simply isn't enough money in the system to do that. You're going to add these costs to your business model and somebody's going to have to pay for it, said Don Sinclair, CEO of the College Employer Council. Students will pick up a portion, and I suspect the taxpayer will, because of the way our funding model works. The funding model used to put most of the burden for funding colleges on the government, but has turned in recent decades more to tuition fees as a funding source. In 1992, colleges received 77% of their funding from the government. According to the Canadian Federation of Students today, the organization says it's less than 50%. They've gutted the system in terms of funding, and they've tried to run it on this completely flexible, precarious employment model, and the cracks are showing everywhere. About 1/3 of teachers in Ontario colleges are full-time, compared to 2/3 who are contract and don't work full-time, according to the College Employer Council. Only full-time teachers are paid for out-of-class work such as prep and meeting with students, which means contract staff work for free if they do the same. That's a situation that hurts the quality of students' education, McKay said. I've seen students get less and less time with the professor, he said. I know that the more contact we have with students, the more likely they are to succeed. Numbers from the Ontario Ministry of Advanced Education and Skills Development show that tuition fees have increased much more over the past 7 years than government funding to colleges has. In November 2010, average regular full-time domestic tuition fees were $2,311. By 2016-17, they had increased 23.71% to $2,859. In its 2017 budget submission to the province, advocacy group Colleges Ontario wrote that, when adjusted for inflation, per-student revenues from both tuition and government grants have declined every year since 2007. The government does not tie its operating grants to colleges with inflation, which can sometimes mean its increases fall below the rate of inflation. From 2002 to 2017, operating grants increased by 45%, to $6,624 per domestic student from $4,600 in March 2002. The rate of inflation for that period in Ontario was 30.8%. However, the rate at which operating grants increased slowed significantly post-2010. Increases from 2002 to 2010 equaled 36%, with inflation at 16.5%, while increases from 2010 to 2017 were 5.9%, below inflation at 8.91%. The Office of Debenture Matthews, Minister of Advanced Education and Skills Development, declined a request for an interview but said the ministry is working with colleges.